So good afternoon, everyone. Nice seeing you. And thanks for joining when it's like either bank holiday or short weekend or long weekend for many countries in Europe. So it's really a great pleasure to have you all here for this fourth episode of our season 5 of Enrich Your Coffee. And particular thank and welcome to Aleš, who is the head of technology transfer and industry contact at ELI ERIC. And Aleš, you will be driving us into the discussion around establishing an innovation and technology framework in order to support innovation opportunities coming from technology development at ERIs. So Aleš, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Charlotte. Well, I will share the presentation. You just tell me if you can see that. Can you see it?
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. So if there is something wrong with that, just shout at me, please,
no
and I will try to, but it should be okay. So if I understand it correctly, I have like 15 minutes for presentation. There will be questions, answers, right? So I'm just as Charlotte said, today's presentation is about establishing innovation and technology framework at ELI ERIC. I divided the presentation into two parts. In the first part, I'm not going to I will tell you what I'm not going to do. I will not explain what ERIC is and so on, because I think that a lot of you are already aware of that. I would just like to say a few words about the situation, in which actually describe the situation which ELI is at this moment. And I'm just trying to move that. Okay, good. So, and I will try to be as fast and as like 5 to 7 minutes maximum, and then I will say a few words about what we are trying to develop here. So why it is actually lasers? Because Europe is strong in lasers. If we are trying to find some sectors across Europe, I mean in high energy physics, whatever, we might say that all the European or European facilities compared to North America and Asia are, let's say, stronger, and we have the capacities developed here and capacities which are being developed. So that's why it's also a priority to the European Union and a priority to all stakeholders which are relevant in science and innovation. So a few words about the current situation of ELI ERIC. Basically, there are 4 members at the moment, which is the Czech Republic, Hungary, Italy, and Lithuania. And there are 2 founding observers, which is Germany, which is supposed to join ELI sometimes in 2024, and Bulgaria, which is also founding observer. As I said at the early beginning, and I saw Jose online as well. So we met together yesterday, and there is a strong, let's say, challenge for us to attract new countries into ELI ERIC, and so we are trying to do our best to contact and let's say talk to as many countries as possible in this. So that's the current situation. So maybe some of you might be a bit confused about 3 ELIs which make part of because there are too many ELIs, I think I would say. So I will try to very briefly explain how it is. So we have ELI Beamlines in the Czech Republic. I am currently with ELI Beamlines, and ELI Beamlines should enter into ELI ERIC, or there should be a merge at the very early beginning of 2023. So that's the Czech Republic. Then we have Hungary. Hungarian part is called ELI attosecond. They are concentrated on ultra-short pulses. And ELI attosecond is supposed to enter into ELI ERIC from the 1st January 2024. So 1 year later after the Czech part. So that will create, or that will be basically the part of two facilities in ELI ERIC. And ELI ERIC is currently a legal entity with a seat in the Czech Republic. So that's so after, let's say, after 1st of January 2024, there will be no big difference between ELI Beamlines, ELI attosecond, all will be concentrated in one ELI. Then you might ask, what is with Romanians? So Romania, there is an ELI facility in Romania. However, Romania does not make part of ELI ERIC at the moment. And there are some positive movements in this, but the date of accession of Romania to ELI ERIC has not been set yet. However, we all expect that it would be in quite near future. So that's why I put question marks to 2025, but it might be within a few years. So I hope I tried to I explained that a bit understandably. So that's what it is at the level of ELI consortium. So we are in Hungary. As I said, Hungarians are looking at attosecond science, extremely short, with a lot of fundamental science and also some applications. Then we have the facility which is located in the Czech Republic, where I work, and where the seat of ELI ERIC is. So the facility is called ELI Beamlines, and we are basically looking at high power lasers with also ultra short pulses, which are not that short as the Hungarians do, but it's also short. We go to higher energies. So the lasers and the experiments and all instrumentation is slightly different. But those two, let's say, facilities are complementary. So what we are a user facility, which means that users which might be in the field of excellence-based science or mission-based science or proprietary access will be able to do their experiments at ELI facilities. Excellence-based, it's quite clear. It's fundamentally or curiosity-driven research, peer-reviewed, and so on and so on. I think all of us know that. Then there is a mission-based access, which is thematically focused on certain areas. Well, we are looking at some specific topics, which might be like energy, which is medical applications. I mean, some laser-driven cancer treatment techniques, and there is also strong impact into material research. However, this mission-based access, it is, as I said, it is thematical, but it's still peer-reviewed, and all results will have to be published. And then there is, last but definitely not least, the proprietary access. I think that a lot of us already know what it is about, and it's a paid access with where you retain your IP. All this actually is being integrated currently by a project which is called Impulse. We are basically trying to synchronize and put those three facilities, which includes also Romania at the moment, but it is about synchronization of our processes and so on, and that's also the project which allows us to contact other countries. So that's what we are doing right now in Salamanca at CLPU, which you can see right here. And we are trying to talk to our Spanish and Portuguese colleagues to explain why they should be part of ELI ERIC. So I am going to the end of the first part. So we are looking market basically, which is really huge, which reaches basically like $15 billion, or reached in the past years, and is still growing, and the lasers are being or are developing quite fast, and it's so that's why it is also promising for industrial companies. So when I talk about industrial companies, we talk about two parts of that. First one is industrial liaison in ELI development. So here you can see a chart where you see parameters of 4 laser systems that we have. And just for your information, I would show you which companies strongly contributed to development. So at L1, which is this 1 kilohertz system, it was mainly developed in-house by ELI Beamlines people. But it was also a strong contribution of the Trumpf company from Germany. Then if we look at L2 system, which is 50 hertz, being currently, it is not operational yet. It is being commissioned, but the main player in this is STFC, basically British, which is not a private company, but they develop and supply that, and they behave like a company. Well, with L3, it is Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, US. Again, it is a research laboratory, but they are they behave also like a company in this. And last but definitely not least is the Lithuanian EXPLA. EXPLA is, or the Lithuanian laser industry is highly developed, and it is one of the reasons why Lithuanians joined ELI ERIC and want to be part of this. So here I have chosen a couple of companies which supplied instrumentation to ELI Beamlines, basically. It means to the Czech part in the past. I will not describe all of them. It is just a brief overview in which fields they supplied. So you can see a lot of like international names, both both international and Czech national. So it is one overview, then the other. Again, I will not go through this. However, it might give you a flavor what we were looking at, and some fields in which we will be doing some upgrades, and where we are going to develop our networks for future involvement. So industrial liaison, what is currently prepared is that ELI ERIC has procurement policy in force. We are looking at implementation of these procedures or innovation-driven procedures in public procurement. And the biggest challenge is establishing of industrial liaison office network within ELI countries. So those are 3 main drivers which should bring us to the final, let's say, stage where we would be able to talk to full-scale industrial partners across Europe and even outside of Europe. So that was about industrial Liaison. Then I have just two slides about science with lasers, which is the second part of our interaction with industry. So lasers have a lot of, so to say, applications. We are basically looking at some areas which might be very briefly named as medicine, like cancer diagnostics and treatment. We use accelerated electrons, which is one technology, laser accelerated electrons and laser accelerated protons in combination with boron, so-called proton-boron fusion. We do collaborate with, for example, Taiwanese Industrial Technology Research Institute or Czech Proton Therapy Center in materials, where we are looking at semiconductors, which is very promising currently and very demanding area across Europe, and it has a very high socio-economic impact. And last but definitely not least, I would name him renewable energies. Well, there are currently huge both public and private, well, basically private investments are much higher than public, but in total, the investment into laser-driven nuclear fusion technology is very high, and we already have some companies, or those are rather small companies, even smaller than SMEs, I would say, which are interested in that. So it's I think the last overview slide where I would like to show what is actually what are challenges in capacity building in industry liaison topics and industry collaboration areas. So it is first, our challenge is to synchronize processes at ELI Beamlines and ELI Alps. I mean, between the Czech and Hungarian part, it is our internal homework, and we need to do that just to be able to meet all expectations. Then it is involvement in the near future ELI NP, the Romanian part, and to implement all these processes, which is very general what I have said right now, but it is just 3 bullet points which should describe what kind of homework we had ahead of us. Then at the bottom part, we have, or I just tried to show 5 bullet points where I named first of all this industry liaison network among ELI ERIC member and observer countries. So as I showed previously, there are 6 countries. We hope that we will enlarge the ELI ERIC's member countries quite soon. So that's one of the priority things. Then we have also some internal parts where the Enrich community could be of some help or for some discussion, which would be some internal bodies which would help with, let's say, internal coordination and advisory to management of ELI Beamlines. Then that right now we're talking about this ELI Innovation Board. Then we have ELI Industry Panel, where we want to also gather external companies which are laser related, which could be some potential users, or let's say companies which have some relevance to laser industry or photonics in general. And then last 2 things are, last but definitely not least, are ELI Innovation Fund, which is financial scheme to support innovations generally at ELI. We are not starting from the scratch with that. We have already some experiences, but the challenge is just to make it happen at the level of the whole distributed structure. I mean, again, Czech Republic and Hungary altogether, and ELI Innovation Award, which is programmed to identify promising innovation projects. So that was my presentation. I was perhaps a few minutes longer than I was expected, but I hope that I explained all in an understandable way. Sorry, and you might have some questions.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting, both parts. Is there immediate questions from the audience? No, I have some. Oh, okay, Michele.
Okay, thank you, Aleš. It was a very good presentation. Congratulations. I don't have a big experience with the photonics. In my past, I have worked for free electron lasers. I see that the field of application of your lasers are a little bit overlapping the application of the synchrotron radiation facilities. Could you explain the difference? It's a question of power, which is transferred to the target. This is first question. Second question, I have the impression that if these facilities are implying high power, maybe some beam can be used for a military application to fire the satellite. Thank you.
Thank you, Michele. Well, you know, if I start with the second question, well, military applications are obvious. Basically, we even filed a patent which might be user, or where we thought it would be the technology could multiply outcome power for maybe even for some military usage. Basically, there was no real, at least as far as I know, there was no real application which would be presented to be for military use at the moment. But it was, well, world is changing. Everything is changing here. So I'm not saying that it will not come in future, maybe in near future. So it's probably only things I can say about this right now. But basically, yes. Well, it can quite easily happen. And if I well, I'm not probably an expert in synchrotron radiation and so on. But what is the fundamental difference, or my understanding of the difference in this is that we have, so you might use synchrotrons for some imaging techniques and just to look at things, what they look like inside and so on. But with synchrotron, my understanding is that you do that in 2D. I mean, you have like static pictures with this with our technology as well. You know, we have the ambitions, and it's already happening, that we do like time resolved imaging techniques with that. So with lasers. So I would say it's one of these of the difference. However, if I look at that from a company perspective, it might be more expensive than using synchrotrons for some experiments. So I would expect that using lasers is probably 2 or 3 times more expensive than synchrotron time. So that's probably what I have to that.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Ed, maybe you want to add something about the synchrotrons and the difference? Don't want to put the light on you, but just in case, since you're around and the only synchrotron representative. Ah, okay, he's busy, but whatever. So maybe you can jump in before after. So is there other questions? No? I actually have some questions. You mentioned, so actually it's on the slide that's still on, about the ELI Innovation Fund and the Innovation Award. I'm a bit curious about what's behind that, how you're going to fund this fund, and what's the ambition with these two programs. Especially on the aspect of like the development of technologies becoming like innovation for further application or other application or market uptakes and so on.
Well, the ambition of ELI Innovation Fund is basically, it comes up from our current experience that we have, and we use that basically for funding proof of concept projects. I would like to a little bit enlarge that. It should not be only this proof of concept, but it should be also just to implement probably companies or industrial partners in slightly different ways. We might find also some opportunities in sponsoring or co-sponsoring of people, basically usually PhD students working at some specific in some specific fields, which are usually sponsored by company, but sometimes there could be also some co-financing. So proof of concept, yes. HR development in industry collaboration, yes. Co-development with companies, we will still have to look at that in more details. However, I think that there could be also some nice opportunities for this co-development. So this would be ELI Innovation Fund and ELI Innovation Award. Basically, we want to pick those the best innovations that we have, the best cases or case studies, which can be quite nicely and easily evaluated or assessed, if you want, by ELI industry panel, by this external people who could be also very good and efficient channel to spread information about ELI and its innovation potential to the industrial community. So those are two, let's say, things that we would like to prioritize.
Okay, very interesting. And how will you sponsor that? I mean, it's like internal resources, or are you going to work with collaboration with your members and observers, or are you only focusing on ELI users, or are you open? Will you work with maybe like your innovation ecosystem or local innovation ecosystem, or broader, or?
Well, it should be ELI related in terms in both cases. So it has to have some relevance to ELI, of course, but it should be. But our vision is to have it slightly broader than only ELI. It should so it can include, or it should include, both ELI teams and teams from partners outside of ELI. So that would be the basic framework. And in terms of financing, basically, well, I think that we have no other option, at least in short or midterm, that it would be institutional money which would sponsor that. I'm not saying that we will start with millions of euros at the early beginning. We will start with some lower money. but well, the goal is to have it growing. Currently at ELI Beamlines, or Institute of Physics, where we are at, where we work right now, until we merge with ELI ERIC, we have also these funds. It's institutional funded first, and second, those are also some public money. So this money comes from some grant schemes. So it's usually a combination of those.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I think for the like the future of Enrich, that could be something we can keep looking at and engaging. Ed.
Sorry, I disappeared for a few minutes because I got directorified.
Just when I got you.
Yeah, right. But I'm back, and that's good. I just had a question, Alice. I recall from Deep History of Time, and you might have mentioned this, that when ELI got the EC European funding, it promised that it would get something like 10 to 15% of its budget would come from commercial tech transfer, or this kind of funding. Is that still the case? Is there that kind of target, or has that gone in the bin, or am I just talking rubbish?
No, and not at all. But you're right. At the early beginning, we are back in 2011, maybe, or 12. The official target was, and don't ask me why, but it was like 9.81%. I think it was they calculated somehow. It was a strange some calculation of, I don't know, boom, but say 10%. That was the target, but currently no one mentions this 10% target.
Right.
It is I think we are much more realistic, and we stick to like this 1 or 2%. I mean, in what we can all imagine.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, so we are slightly over time. So unless there's a burning question, I would suggest that we close for today. That's a very good teaser to be in touch with Aleš if you want to learn more about what ELI is doing and how eventually we can collaborate further together. Alexandra?
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to jump in real quick and say, I think, so we're at ELI ERIC are just kind of getting started. We're getting all this set up, right? We just had, the ELI ERIC was founded a year ago. So now we have the governance structures in place. We have, the management structures in place. And basically we are looking to learn from how others have done it in the past, right? I think we all understand there's no need to reinvent the wheel. And so in that sense, we really welcome these networks and these connections so that we can learn from how things have been, from best practices as well. So if anyone has any tips on how to set up or any do's and don'ts, let's say, of what to avoid when setting up an ILO network or an innovation fund, or if anyone, we very much welcome any of those feedbacks, so that we can, learn from your experiences and build on those. So.
Thanks, Alex. That's very relevant, and that opens either another topic or maybe an opportunity to host a workshop together with Enrich and use the the network.
One that we can host in Prague, maybe.
Yeah, I think we will be in Czechia for ECRI anyway after BSBF, so that could be also an opportunity. Another opportunity is that we will be at Inditech. So for those who haven't received our newsletter today, Enrich will have a conference on research infrastructures in parallel of Inditech, but in association with the organization. And it will be in Grenoble at the end of June. And I think it's very close also to the topic of today, because during this session, we will have a dedicated part for industrial case studies around the big science side market, but also, and this is where I bridge with the innovation aspect that we talked about today, a roundtable on the concept of basic and big science innovation studio that is that has the ambition of offering a platform where we could bring together different type of stakeholders to mature and seed ideas coming from research infrastructures in terms of innovation technology, and see how through this studio we could mature it and accelerate it for market uptake and new market impact and so on. So I think what you are developing within ELI could also be very relevant. But I know you will be in Grenoble, so that could be also an opportunity to have you in the audience and raise your hands to present that on the 27th of June. So by then, I thank you very much, everyone. We will have our last episode of the Enrich Your Coffee season number 5 in July. It's still under preparation. I invite anyone who wants to help us closing this session to get in touch with us. And I wish you a great afternoon. And hopefully we will see you in Grenoble. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Ciao.
you.
Nice
Bye.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.